Hi there, Lloyd Machedo speaking to you from lloydmachedo.com. Who's Lloyd Machedo and Think Personal Branding? I just thought I'd share with you the 31 points checklist for making yourself a personal brand, or what it would involve in you becoming a personal brand. These are 31 tips, tricks, or strategies, as I call them. Go through them. I've put them in the description box below. And obviously, I'll be making this a course so that people can learn much more from this when they want to become a personal brand. So without taking any more of your time, here it goes. Point number one is the first impression, or the visual contact. Now, when someone sees me as a personal brand, they automatically look at my tattoos, they look at my mannerisms, they look at how the visual aspect. So what happens is, when they see me, they never tend to forget me. Now, before I did have the tattoos, I had a personality that had a kind of visual look to it. It was, pretty brash. It was pretty, strong. So people always remembered me. So keep in mind, even if you do not have tattoos, the first point of impression is the visual look and feel. So you need to engineer this in order to stand out. So the question is, what is it that you do? What are the accessories that you put? What are the colors that you choose? What is it that you put onto yourself to stand out visually in terms of a personal brand? That's point number one. Point number two is, how do you sound? How you sound determines the feel of what is to come. Let's say, for example, you sound like Earl Jones, who is the main voice for Darth Vader, or you sound someone like who is a radio host, or you have a very pleasing voice, or you have a very charismatic voice. Now this, if you compare it to a stark contrast of someone who has a squeaky voice, or someone who has a very shrill voice, or someone who has a very raspy voice, it would definitely add to your personal brand. Now, in terms of myself, I had a nasal voice, and I had to train myself how to sound the way that I sound today. That took practice. So the second aspect of personal branding is, how do you sound? Point number three is the essence, or the kinesthetic, the feel of your personal brand. Now, my personality is pretty strong. When I come across as a person who is out there to get something. So people have a particular feeling when they are with me. I'm high energy, high enthusiasm, and it's like I make the person sit up and take notice. So when a person interacts with you, what is the essence or the feel that they get? What is the kinesthetic energy that they get? Is it someone who's caring? Is it someone who's sweet? Is it someone who's nice, accommodating? Or is it someone who's high energy? So you'll have to decide this. Now, before, I used to be, in terms of energy, I had nervous energy. I changed that to enthusiasm, excitement, and confidence. Point number four is, are you formal in your outlook, or are you informal? Very early on in my career, I realized that I didn't like the suit and tie kind of a guy, because I really felt suffocated. So what I did is, I introduced a very informal tone to my personality in the way that I dressed. I always wore flip-flops. I always wore jeans. I always wore a t-shirt. So people kind of realized he was a little laid back, but they knew that my signature, or my core content, was serious. So it was a very informal outlook, but with a very serious message. Point number five is, what is your one-liner, your one-line message, or your, let's say, a tagline? So let's say, for example, me, when people look at my tagline, I come across with the three C's. That is controversial, that is charismatic, that is communicative. Or if they're looking at what I can offer other people, I always tell them, whatever it is that you're earning, I'll double it for you. So what is your one-liner? It has to come across very easy. It has to be intriguing, interesting, and informative. Point number six is, what is the one subject that you specialize in? In my case, I specialize in personal branding. I help people, earn much more being a personal brand. So what is the one subject that you specialize in? What is the one article, or what is it that you are expert in terms of research? Point number seven is your original story. Now, my story, for those of you who don't, 2011, I was going to kill myself. I was on the streets. I had nothing. I had nobody. I started off from scratch. Then I had the TED Talks. I had the Coca-Cola opportunity. I started national television. Then that is where I started to tattoo myself completely. I educated myself, and that is where I reached my level of success. So that is my original authentic story. If people were to check my childhood, it was tortured, tormented, and a child that was completely lost, that didn't have anybody, but who succeeded beyond all the obstacles that he had to overcome. So that is my story. So what is your story? What is your authentic, original, true story that people can relate to? Now, it need not be something of do or die. It can be something even day to day, ordinary, but it should connect with people. Point number 8 is the personality. Now, if I say Tony Robbins, obviously you get an image of a person who was, sleeping in a one bedroom. Then he got introduced to personal power or NLP. From there, he became this fire walking character. If I speak to you about Elon Musk, you know that there is a story. If I speak to you about Oprah, there is a story. So, and in that story, a personality comes out. So we always relate with larger than life personalities like Keanu Reeves, like Brad Pitt, like George Clooney. Now, even though these are actors, these are personalities themselves, and we connect to one of them. So, which is your personality? Are you the Undertaker? Are you Bret the Hitman Hart? Are you Mr. Perfect? Are you a villain? Are you the Joker? Are you Superman, Batman, Hulk? So, you need to have a personality. Point number 9 is what makes you stand out. So, in my case, it can be the controversy, it can be the tattoos, it can be the rude kind of in your face coaching style, it can be telling the truth as it is. So, you need to have a personality or an essence that helps you stand out. And this proves to be your flavor. Okay. Point number 10 is you need to know how much you're worth. Now, obviously, you need to know what is your rate per hour, what is your rate per day, what is your rate per week, what is your rate per month, rate per 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. The reason for this is so that you value yourself. And I've also told people and my clients that if anyone were to even call you for a cup of coffee, you know what you're worth. Point number 11 is what are the services that you provide? It's very important and very necessary to give people a service which can be of value to them, because when you give them a service that is value based, they understand what they're going to get in return. So there is a point and purpose of dealing with you. Point number 12 is choose your channels of operation. Are you mainly in LinkedIn? Are you on Facebook? Are you on YouTube? Are you on Instagram? Are you on Pinterest? So you need to have a channel of operation, and that is where you need to grow and promulgate. Like Donald Trump is primarily on Twitter. So point number 13 is the circle of friendship. You need to be very characteristically careful as to who are your friends. My friends are my clients because they are the ones who pay me money, and I respect and value them much more than whom I get, as I call them, freeloaders. Because freeloaders, free opinions, they can say anything they want. They take my time. They don't pay me any money. I cannot sustain and survive. So I choose my friends carefully. And the only other friends that I choose are people who I look up to as my mentors or as my role models. Point number 14 is who is your target audience? Now, my target audience, clearly defined, is the people who are searching for jobs in the Middle East, because their age group is 30 to 40 years old. They are the ones who have money to spend. They're serious about their career and they're pretty focused. So I know who's my target audience. Obviously, before, my target audience used to be youngsters, but they don't have money and they don't pay me. So it was no use creating and curating content for them. So you need to know who are your target, who is your target audience. Point number 15 is the rules of personal branding. When I deal with someone in terms of personal branding, I have the rules set out for them. I call it as the, designing the alliance or the rules of engagement. The person tells me what are the do's and don'ts, what are the cannots, have-nots. So I come to know basically the framework as to where I can operate. And that is where we tend to operate on and don't cross the line. So if someone tells me that they do not like a very critical approach, I don't go critical. If someone tells me they want it in your face kind of an approach, well, that is how we have it. Then point number 16 is the evolution. An evolution of a personal brand is very important because remember, today you can be relevant, but tomorrow you can be pretty boring. There's always a phase that takes place. Like, for example, in the 80s, there was this motivational coach, inspirational coach. Then it moved to personal development, self-improvement. Then it moved to peak performance. Today, it's all about making quick money, grow rich, become rich fast, 7-figure income, 8-figure income coaches. So there is always a trend that takes place. So you need to know that, are you at par with the trend, or are you still relevant? If you're not, you need to change, you need to evolve. Point number 17 is have a strategy. If you don't have a strategy, you don't have a game plan, you will not survive. Always ensure that there is a step-by-step strategical plan in place that makes you know what is step A, step B, step C, and you need to constantly follow up. So plan to win? No. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Okay, like they say. Point number 18 is, what is your DMG? Your DMG is a daily minimum goal, what you're supposed to do in order to achieve. Like, let's say, for example, my daily minimum goal is $150. If I achieve that, I've achieved my daily minimum goal. For some other people, it is $1,000 a day. So what is your daily minimum goal? And you need to make it tangible. If it's not money, then it should be, let's say, for example, videos. Every day I need to put up one video, I need to put up one article, I need to put up one blog, I need to put up one Instagram post. So that is my daily minimum act or action. Point number 19 is self-education. I always spend time in order to educate myself, read new things, learn new things, and grow. Because if I do not grow, I know I'll be extinct. Point number 20 is your description. You should be able to define who you are, what you do very clearly, concisely, in a paragraph, in a sentence, or in an essay. Because many people do not know who you are. So if you can do this, you become a personal brand with a proper description. And this should be the words that you need to use when you're speaking to other people. Point number 21 is ensure that you are in daylight tight compartments, whereby nobody's opinion or nobody's criticism can affect you, because mentally you need to be very, very strong. Point number 22 is you need to know how to measure success. In my case, it's very simple. It's money. It's not fame, because today you can be famous, tomorrow you can be nothing, but money stays with you. So money is very, very important to me. Point number 23 is have your pricing strategy. Know how you can strategize in comparison to your competition. And that is very important if you have to differentiate yourself from your competitors. Point number 24 is staying relevant with changing times. Let's say, for example, if I say The Undertaker, you know that he has been in the game for 30 years. If I say Logan Paul, he's a guy who appeals to youngsters right now. If I say MC Hammer, you know him as a one-hit wonder. So you need to know what you need to do in order to stay relevant. Madonna, for example, is the pop queen. She's trying her best to stay relevant today, but it's too late, but still she's trying, okay? Kim Kardashian is, she abused her body to the point where today it's no longer working for her, so she needs to try something new. So what do you have to do in order to stay relevant? Point number 25 is, remember, you can't be good at everything. So stop trying to be the jack of all. Focus on a few things and be really good at it. Point number 26 is competition. It is always there. You'll always have competitors. You'll always have people trying to undercut you, trying to copy your strategies, trying to be better than you, or trying to copy you completely. You need to make sure that the people who deal with you know that why they should come to you and nobody else. Point number 27 is be good at one thing and one thing absolutely well. It can be anything from communication to training to, let's say, creativity, whatever it is. Be good at one thing and let that one thing define you completely. Because if you're good at that one thing and people identify you, they will always come to you. So in the corporate world, it can be finance, it can be, let's say, facades, it can be switchgear, it can be investing. Okay. Point number 28 is make sure that you stay true to who you are. Because if you try to put on an act of who you're not, people can see through it very, very easily. Point number 29 is there's always a challenge between being predictable versus being unpredictable. It's good to be predictable sometimes, where people know that they can trust you. But where it helps to be unpredictable is people shouldn't get too bored of you. So I make sure that I mix both of them. So you need to have a balance between being predictable and unpredictable. Point number 30 is know when you should fake it and know when you should make it. Many a times there are people who like to position themselves as larger than life, which is good. Sometimes they like to show that they are very successful. But then if you try to fool people by showing expensive cars, expensive lifestyle, expensive jets, rented out stuff, then you'll have to carry that bluff for very long, and that is not sustainable. That is why most of the rap artists who tend to show a lot of bling, a lot of cars, and a lot of fame, eventually burn out because it's not sustainable. And point number 31, last if not the least, is ask yourself, what is your legacy? I know that this is kind of far-fetched, but then if you were to die today, what is it, that one thing that you'd like to be known for and stay known for the rest of your life? So what is your legacy? And that is very important because that defines your character completely. So these are the 31 points with regards to personal branding. Let me know your thoughts. If you need any guidance, like I told you, I give you a strategy session if you want to get in touch with me. My rates are put down below. If you just want me to evaluate your resume or just give you a couple of guidance pointers, please feel free. You can put the comments down below. Like the video, thumbs up. Don't like it, thumbs down. And this is me signing off for now. Take care.